Well, as you just saw, Ms. Karnad has been instrumental in transforming the mortgage as well as real estate industry in the country. I would request ma'am to kindly step up and receive the scroll of honor from Realty Plus and kindly say a few words as well.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I'm really very honored and feel very honored for this, facilitation that you're doing for me. But I think it's more important to facilitate all the other women who are the award winners. It was such a difficult decision how to pick them up because each one of them in their own field were, stars. But let me say it's a great attempt by Realty Plus on these Women Icon Awards. I think it's a brilliant initiative. All this while, realty and real estate has been very male dominated. So this really encourages more women to come into this industry. And I think for the first time, what they say, the right side of the brain, with the right side brain thinkers, which are women, right? They bring in so much more creativity, so much more empathy, so much more, the finer parts of it to this industry is happening. And I feel very, very proud of being part of that team. Of course, there's an old, I'd like to share an old statistics about the Fortune 500 companies. They did US Today had done a report a few years back. It's a little dated, but they found that of the Fortune 500 stocks, 13 stocks of 13 companies in 2009 outperformed the SP, the Standard & Poor 500 company index, which was led by men by 25%. So really, there is such a future for us and the real estate when you see that many more women coming into the system. I think in the sector that I come from, which is BFSI, we have seen a lot of spurt of women in the last few years. And it's more, I think, in the services sector too. But in real estate, which, as I said, to repeat myself, so male dominated, it's really a pleasure to see this happen. I think I can't but, talk about the timing of real estate at this point in time in India, the lowest interest rates, right? A lot of benefits from the government, stamp duty waivers in so many states, working from home actually going to continue to be at least a part-time working from home. So people looking for larger homes, people looking for owning homes. I think it's the best time for real estate the next few years in India. And so come on, women, let's get around to it and let's go get it, I think. I also want to wish all our viewers here, it's festival time, one after the other, the festivals are going to be coming in. So happy Diwali, happy Christmas, Merry Christmas. There'll be Guru Nanak Jayanti in the middle, there'll be Eid. And all these occasions actually is when people are looking around to buying homes. There's happiness all around. So I wish all of them the same. And let's nudge all the customers that we are getting in touch with to upgrade, to get into more housing, to own more housing. With that, I just wish Realty Plus all the best for the future. And all the Women Awards, my heartiest congratulations. And to grow this this initiative even more in the years to come is what I'm going to request Anurag Batraji to do. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Ms. Renu Karnad, first of all, taking out the time from your busy schedule and being here with us, and also for your judging of these awards. But in the morning we had spoken about one of the reports which says that India is actually leading global countries in terms of women in leadership roles. So while India has a 39% ranking, as against 31% in terms of global ranking. What do you attribute? You have been the veteran of the industry for last 40 years now. So how have you seen that change happening?
So I didn't know the statistics, and if this is indeed there, I think I'm very, very proud. I think a lot has got to do with the last few years of women being able to now manage both home and family, and being able to, also, I think the other change that I've seen in the last few years is women ensuring that other women are also part of the team. I think it is so important that we as women, if you're successful yourself, you should actually reach out to other women and help them during those really periods of, when you're not sure, should I continue with working? Should I not continue working? At that time, you need that camaraderie, you need that help. And I think that's helping in a big way. All that is creating a space for women to actually to manage both. The other thing I think is also at the workplace, there are lots of more things happening, making it easier for women to continue. I think the Indian government has also done their piece to it. I think setting up of creches, ensuring that, longer maternity leaves, because that's when you used to see a lot of people drop out, of their jobs. So longer maternity leaves, making sure that, the facilities are available. You wouldn't believe it, in the initial stages when we started working, there were no bathrooms for women, So that is how it all started. So those changes have happened. And I think the world is also realizing that we bring a lot more, the empathy that we bring, the nurturing that women bring into an organization, I think is so valuable. I think that has changed the world in the last, I would say, 20 years.
That's right. In fact, the women leaders who were there with us during the conclave, they echoed the same sentiment. One is the mindsets are changing in the organizations now. They are more receptive. We had a woman architect who started her career 30 years back, and at that time, clients didn't want to give her work because she was a woman architect. And today they have a fun, successful business. Do you think even this entire 1.5 year of pandemic, has that also kind of now shifted in the entire mindset or the entire ecosystem or environment in favor of women? Because now we have seen we can work remotely and we can work equally efficiently.
Absolutely. Sapna, I think if you ask me, the two benefits of the pandemic, if you ever can say it's a benefit, is one, realizing that so many jobs can be done remotely by men or women. And second, that women don't have to leave, their jobs when they are going through a particular point in time, which I mentioned earlier, is whether the children are very young, or at a later time when the children are, towards the end of school, is when, I normally see people fall out. I think that has really been a big positive as far as women and working from home is concerned. And I think a lot of us organizations and the HR departments are now going to formulate policies which are going to encourage that to happen. Because Sapna, when you lose a very good woman and she drops out, and it's very difficult sometimes to come back 5 or 6 years later, but when you lose them, I mean, it's terrible, because it's somebody who's been trained, somebody who wants to continue to work. So I think that's been the biggest positive of the pandemic. Absolutely.
But here I have to ask you, your own experience when you started your journey, which was 40 years back, and you have kind of opened up the the whole avenue, or as we say, broken the glass ceiling. So we have to ask you, what was your initial journey like, so that it inspires others also.
So Sapna, very honestly, you need to have a very supporting spouse, right? Very, very supporting spouse. And you have to have a family who can support you at times when you need. I think these are the two very important aspects of being able to continue to do what you do. The second thing I would do is, once you get into a job, a situation, don't think of yourself as a woman. You are as good as the next person, whether it's a man or a woman. And so continue to do what you have to do as a person. I think that some bit of getting specially, treatment for women, I don't agree with that at all. You have to be there on your own merit. You have to be there on your own hard work, and you have to make sure that you're able to set examples for other women, that you're not asking for favors. I think that's the most important thing, Sapna, and you have to do that. But having said that, you do need to have a supporting family.
That's right. Irrespective of being a man or a woman, a family support is equally important for any professional.
Well, Sapna, let's face it, very honestly, even today, and it doesn't matter which part of the world you are in, certain aspects within a family still land up in the woman's lap, no matter how successful you are. It's your children, it's your home, right? Even though your husbands might help you, but still it is your responsibility. So I was very lucky. I had my parents with me, and my parents really were a great support. In addition, then, so I think that is what you need to also understand, that you cannot be a superwoman. right? You cannot be fabulous at everything. As long as you're very good at everything and you're prioritizing, and at different points in time, during the day, during the month, during the year, during the years, you have to prioritize different things. But you make sure that you're able to do them at the right time. I think is very, very important.
I think that's right. You have to find your own pace of,
Absolutely.
how you want to take your personal and professional journey. And as one of our speakers said, success means different definition or different meaning for different people. So one needs to find your own, what is success for you, what is your pace of your professional journey. And before, we let you go, and Dr. Batra is just coming, over on the screen. What is your message for the young entrepreneurs or the young women professionals? You have already seen the profile of so many of young professionals who've been part of the award. What's your message for them?
So my message for them is to never give up. My message for them is there are going to be times when you're going to be having self-doubts, but it's a very short period. Hang in there. Make sure that you have it's up to you to form that support. The support can be family, the support can be health, the support can be friends, but don't give up. I think that's the one thing. I just, the message to most women I would like to say is that we can do it all. We can do both. It's not either or. And I think that's the message I want to give. Do not give up.
Okay, fantastic. Dr. Batra, you are also there, although we cannot see you, but what do you have to say? What Miss Renu Karnad just said, don't give up and continue with your passion.
Good evening. I could hear her, whether, I got, because I'm in a car going from somewhere to somewhere. First of all, good evening, Mr. Karnad, and congratulations. It was fascinating.
Thank you, Anurag.
Yeah, and I don't know if you still remember, I keep reminding you, on the first day of my job, I reported to you, there was Ved, the office boy, and there was Bhim, and look at where they are. I don't know where they are, but I know Bhim is a property agent or a software guy in Canada. So I was hearing that ultimately it's your home. You got to do. So you're talking about responsibility. I think responsibility is gender neutral. And again, one of the things is we live in this, what we call, in a gig economy where people are changing jobs. You've stayed in a long job for a long while and you continue to grow. So it is because you stayed in a job long, you continue to grow, or because you continue to grow, you stayed in a job? Because I see young professionals changing jobs very fast. So I wanted to ask you this specific question.
So it's definitely, Anurag, because I continued to grow, I stayed in the job. Definitely when you reach a time when you think that you platted out, but you can do more, is when you start looking out. Fortunately, I was in an organization and in a job which has been growing for the last 30, 40 years, not only within the group, but also outside of the group. We've set up so many companies, we've set up so many new businesses, the bank, insurance, the education business, the schooling business. So definitely, for anyone, whether it's a man or a woman, I think that's completely gender agnostic. When you realize that you're not able to grow, then you start looking at other things, because there is a sense of achievement in wanting to, learn more, in wanting to do something different. So I think that is what it is. Today people are switching jobs much faster. I also have to say, I come from a very different generation. My generation, there's a 40-year difference between the new guys who are coming in. So it is also that. But yes, it is true that growth is very important. Being happy in the job is very important. Being the feeling of being useful and that you are actually contributing either to nation building or to the company or to yourself, I think is so important. I think those are the things that drive whether it's a man or a woman, Anurag.
Thank you so much. That's a very authentic answer.
Thank you.
Growth, freedom, and the opportunity to be able to contribute using the position. Now, post-pandemic, the last 18 months have been very tough on women. The last 2-3 months are a little different. Broadly speaking, the last 18 months, women have been, and I'm not talking at your level, but middle level, junior level women, they have been at the receiving end because their workload has increased. The expectations because they're at home have increased. What is your advice to women post the pandemic?
So, Anurag, I think what you're saying more of, I think what you're alluding to is the fact that people are more at home, and therefore there is more lunches, and the children are home. But believe me, you Anurag, women are great multitaskers, and I'm sure all of them have done it very well, right? I don't think there's been much of an issue. I think there's more talk about it, right? If you're going to be home, you're going to have lunch on the table. If you have your children at home, you have to teach them. It's part of life, right? It's not. It's how you see it. I mean, you have to take it in your stride. In fact, I think for some women, it most probably was easier because you were not worried about the safety of your children. You were not worried about what's they in a pandemic timing. You don't know if you're able to cater to all the needs. Here you are sitting at home, at least you're around the family. So I'm not sure on that piece. Yes, in some cases there might have been more demands on women, but I think in all fairness, I think the men have also played a role. Let's not just damn them all totally.
My last question, I'll let you go. So you talked about the age gap between the rising stars of companies, startup companies, whatever. What can you learn from them, and what do you think they can still learn from you? I know they can learn a lot, but you believe in the ones you told me that you believe in reverse mentoring. So that's why I'm asking you.
Actually, if you ask me, I have learned so much from my IT teams, the teams that I work with, just in terms of, sharing knowledge, more in terms of how your systems, your productivity levels can get better. How can you use technology to actually make things much easier and more efficient? And more, I think, even in terms of the correctness of what you're doing. And just learning a new, when we talk of technology is not just using the instruments. Technology is also using those instruments to get your statistics out, to get, your analytics out, your data out. What can you do? What used to take us for months can now be done maybe in a couple of hours, right? And how you can actually, and particularly in this new world, Anurag, where there is so much of data privacy, you have to be so careful of who you can do what with. I think technology has really been the savior as we go forward, and all that is what you're learning from the youngsters. They are so sharp, they're so quick. I mean, in coming up with ideas, because they are actually, for them, some of this technology is like a toy. They are playing with it all the time, and as they play with it all the time, they come up with so many new ideas. It's absolutely refreshing to deal with them. And every generation is better, Anurag. I would have thought that the 30s were people in the 35 and the 40s, 35s were the ones. But now I'm looking at the 23-year-olds, the guys who are coming in at the age straight from college, straight from engineering. Oh my God, there's such a fresh breath, breath of fresh air, coming up with even newer ideas. So I think it's absolutely a two-way street. It's just not a one-way. What they can learn from us is more in terms of patience, resilience.
Yes, absolutely.
Good. Thank
Patience,
you so much.
resilience.
Take care.
The pleasure is all mine. I look forward to seeing you face to face sometime. And back to you, Sapna.
Yes.
You did a fab job in getting out the right.
Thank you. Actually, I'm on a holiday. I'm on a holiday in New York with my kids. So I said, but I must come for this because I think it's women, and I said I must be there.
Really early in the morning. Thank you for doing that. That shows the kind of professional and the kind of commitment you bring to whatever you do. So back to you, Sapna.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Batra, for joining us. Although you're on the way from the airport, and Ms. Karnad, you are on a holiday, but still you took part in the entire judging process for the awards and joining us here and sharing your inspiring words. Very motivating for people like us. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sapna. Bye bye. Take care. All the best, and wish you all the best. Right.
Thank you. Thank you, ma'am.